Hello, welcome to Pearls of Wisdom by Pearl Operational Design. My name is Hazel Lord, and I'd like to welcome you back. If you are a subscriber, or if this is new to you, welcome to this channel where we talk about operation. So I'm going to start off a little different. The study of wind, the study of bodies moving through the air, moving through the water, aerodynamics. And I'll tell you, this is not a video about fluid dynamics in any way, shape, or form. But I do like to pull references from elsewhere to compare certain aspects of operations. I was doing some research because I was looking at everything airlines. I used to work in aviation, and I'll tell you, I'm so passionate about the airlines, and I absolutely love to travel. So looking at how airplanes were developed, how they move through the air, and realizing that, the study of wind and its impact on bodies in motion through it, aerodynamics, really came about when we started to look at developing airplanes, rightly so. What was also interesting, I was watching the building of really, really tall buildings and realizing that, one of the biggest challenges when they're putting up that glass is the wind. And then similarly, looking at bridges and the construction of bridges, and especially being an engineer in Canada, and anyone who can relate to the fact that we're wearing this iron ring, which is a result of a compromised bridge that fell victim to wind and some of the elements. So understanding the context. So in bodies in motion, putting up glass around buildings and building bridges, you're looking at wind. Same too in an operation. So this brings us to what I would consider the last component, which is by no means lesser than any of the others. They are all very equally as important in consideration when you are heading an operation, and that's the environment, the context. Let's stick with airlines. So in the airline industry, it's a highly regulatory industry. I can tell you, I had the joy of doing consulting work in aviation, and the first thing that I tried to commit to memory were the Canadian aviation regulations, or as we nicely say, the CARs. And that's because airlines operate in a highly regulatory environment. And if you are looking at operations, you have to make sure that you are aligned with everything that you need to do, from even when you track the quality, when you are looking at aspects of the manufacturer that comes out from the OEM. You've got to make sure you are doing service bulletins. You have to make sure that you have airworthiness directives that you are ensuring. So you really need to make sure that as an operations, for example, if you have your air operator certificate or your air maintenance operations certificate, the AMO, that you are aligning your operations in the context of the regulation. But there's so many. When we talk about all the various components of operations, when we talk about your technology and your data, we talk about human capital, we talk about processes, all of these have different aspects that impact them based on the context. As we're seeing coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing people from a human capital perspective that people want to focus more on wellness, that, who would have thought keeping people isolated is not good for mental health? So all of these are contextual pieces of your operation. So it can be of your operations holistically or contextual pieces around the different components, like with the human capital of your operations. So just as we were trying to develop things that will move us from A to B, going through the sky and observing birds, emerged aerodynamics because the context was important. Same too in the operations. We need to understand what are the contextual pieces, and that is a lot. It could be compliance, it could be regulation, it could be what's going on with people, and of course, as we see, and as in my last video when we talk about layoffs, the global economic impacts, or even what's happening on a geopolitical level. So the last aspect of your operations design that you need to consider are the contextual pieces, and that can be huge. But by looking at all of these elements and making sure you're managing to that, you will be able to be not only effective, but efficient in running your operations. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, as usual, please share the knowledge. Thank you.